Junior 2000 here, coming at you with a review of Marvel's 2003 underrated, in my opinion, criminally underrated gem. That's badass and kick ass throughout. And it's the 2003 movie Daredevil, starring Ben Affleck, Jennifer Gardner, Colin Farrell, the late great Michael Clark Duncan, and also Joe Pantoliano and David Keefe and John Farrow. Everybody knows John Farrow's he's in the MCU and shit, and also a film director. And also Coolio's in this director's cut version, which I'll talk about in a moment. But my thoughts about this movie, I think this movie is so criminally underrated. It has a badass soundtrack with all the rock music that came out around that time. But my favorite song that I have to go with in this one is the Evanescence song by that band Evanescence. I think they're a underrated kick-ass emo rock band. And my favorite song from this movie is Bring Me to Life. That's a fucking banger to listen to. I hear that music all the time when I was a kid, and because all the time when I was a kid, I hear different variety of music. But the emo shit was the kind of shit that I listened to when I was in elementary, and surprisingly, I was hearing that all the time in my house. Those emo rock music that was so cool to hear. AFI music, which is my favorite emo band. Linkin Park is so fucking badass. Rest in peace, Chester Bennington. I like Linkin Park. Some people don't really care for Linkin Park, but I think Linkin Park kicks ass. My Chemical Romance is pretty good. Um, All American Rejects are pretty good. Um, there's a lot of good emo bands that were in the early 2000s, but my favorite has always been AFI, Linkin Park, Evanescence, and My Chemical Romance. But the Evanescence song "Bring Me to Life" is such a badass song that every time I hear that song, it always brings up this movie. And also, that was actually the song "Bring Me to Life" by Evanescence. That song was actually used for the WWE event No Way Out 2003. If anybody's a WWE fan or wrestling fan, WWF fan, remember that pay per view No Way Out 2003? That was a pay per view that Stone Cold made his return to WWE after the walkout, and he kicked Eric Bischoff's ass in a very entertaining 3 minute match of him stomping a mud hole up his ass and rock you dry and into Bischoff's ass whooping, like getting his ass whooping for being mean to JR and being up JR on Raw. And Stone Cold just hilariously kicks Eric Bischoff's ass and does a few stunners. And Eric Bischoff does pretty good selling the stunners, but yeah, that event they used that song for the Evanescence song "Bring Me to Life." That was from this movie. They used it for No Way Out 2003, and did a great video package for Triple H and Shawn Steiner's shitty match, but the video package was awesome with that song. Bring me to life. Wake me now, wake me up and say, can't wake up. Wake me up and say, save me now. Call my name and see me on my now. I love that song. I enjoyed it. Every time I hear that song, it brings up Daredevil. And there's a lot of great songs from Daredevil. Like even Cedar sings in this soundtrack. And I think POD also sings in this soundtrack as well. I think I might be mistaken, but they're also another band that's pretty cool. That's also in the emo genre, POD. But all in all, I enjoyed Daredevil. This was the Marvel movies I freaking enjoyed. Not this woke Marvel shit, MCU crap that we've been giving. And yeah, no wonder that piece of shit the Marvels movie is sucking in theaters because that movie is woke as shit. And guess what? Brie Larson's in that movie, and she's considered to be an unlikable person in real life. And everybody hates her for good reasons because she's very rude in real life. Brie Larson, she's just very rude. And yeah, you could tell she was rude when she was interviewed with Thor actor Liam Hemsworth and Don Cheadle. Both of them were like kind of quiet, like they know that she's just full of shit. Like she's just talking out of her ass and being an arrogant bitch to them, like being a smart ass. Like she acts like she knows everything. She's high and mighty. She's very woke. Like, yeah, no wonder that piece of crap Marvel movie sucks because her Captain Marvel characters in that movie. I hate Captain Marvel. I never liked that movie, Captain Marvel. That movie was just so fucking stupid in my opinion. But lately, like MCU movies have kind of sucked. The only ones I don't mind that had came out, like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was pretty solid. I have to admit, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, pretty solid movie. Even though it's a hella long movie, but it still had some emotion to it and it still had a story. And I thought it was pretty cool to have Rocket as most of the story for him. And his backstory is pretty fucking sad and emotional to see. I even like that scene where Rocket's like grieving about one of the characters that got like they were like a test subject with his friends, and one of them's like the girl Rocket that he feels for and has a bond with, but she dies, and then he is crying and shit, leaving his emotion out, and the bad guy's laughing at him, and Rocket just scratches and the shit out of that motherfucker's face and bringing out the anger out of him. Like that was cool. Like that was kind of the shit I wanted to see from more of this MCU. Like that's like 2000 Marvels right there. Not this MCU shit where you have stupid Captain Marvel being very woke in her movies and being a jackass character. Nah, I can't stand Captain Marvel, and no wonder the movie The Marvel sucks. Cause yeah, MCU movies nowadays sucks. Besides, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is pretty good. Cause the Guardian Galaxy movies are pretty damn good. Um, I have not seen Wakanda Forever, but to me, I like the first Black Panther movie with Chadwick Boseman. That was it. That was like the only time I enjoyed a MCU movie, and I didn't mind Avengers Endgame, but I don't know, I just can't stand Captain Marvel. Like the Black Widow movie was very bland to me. Very boring movie. The Internals was also another movie that was fucking boring. And Shane C was okay, pretty okay movie, but I like Black Panther better. Um, yeah, but Guardians of the Galaxy was like probably the last good Marvel movie. I'm kind of done with the Spider-Man movies. I don't really care for Tom Holland Spider-Man, in my opinion. To me, it's always Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man all the way. And I like Sam Raimi's directing in those Spider-Man movies. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I like Spider-Man 3. I saw that in theaters, and I still think that movie was pretty good. I don't give a fuck. I enjoyed Spider-Man 3. But yeah, back to this movie I'm talking about. This is such an underrated kick-ass movie. Daredevil. It's directed by Mark Steven Johnson and written by also Mark Steven Johnson, also written the movie as well. Which is weird that he's separated with screenplay and then directed. It should have just said written and directed by Mark Steven Johnson because he's involved in this movie. But yeah, that's the DVD. I mean the Blu-ray, and this is the director's cut, folks. And yeah, big quick synopsis before I talk about the difference of the director's cut and the theatrical cut, because I have the theatrical cut, which is one of the titles I got from my December haul. and I got this for $1 at on sale for $1 at FYE, and it's sealed, and it's a Daredevil theatrical version on DVD with a 2 disc set. And yeah, I'll talk about the difference, but yeah, this is the theatrical version, and this is the director's cut. But also, quick synopsis about the movie. It's about Ben Affleck as Daredevil. When he was a kid, he was bullied by these jackass bully characters. He always gets beat up after school. He sees his father as a best boxer fighter that's retired and put the gloves down, and he's just living a retirement life. And he goes to see his dad at his work, but finds out his dad wasn't working at the place that he works at, and he sees that his dad is a loan shark. He beats up people for money as a loan shark, so it makes him run away. Get accidentally, I think was it like he was running, then he accidentally moved, get into the front of this ATV. I'm not ATV. I mean forklift that cuts like a piece of this chemical liquid stuff that fly into his eyes, blinds him, and he starts developing a blindness. Like he now is blind because all this chemical crap went on his eyes and burned his side eye scenes and the sightings. So he's blind. The only way he could communicate with his blindness is through aesthetic noises. That if something's being hid and something's echoing, he could see through his blind eyes for a second, but he's still blind and he can't see. And he starts training himself, and also after he reconciles with his dad, which he has more dialogue with his talking to his dad and forgiving him in the director's cut, but it's kind of slowed down in the theatrical cut. I like that scene better in this, which I'll go into the flow of why this version is better. But yeah, the synopsis is that he develops more of a ability with his blindness, where he's learning to do flips, fighting, and training, and doing parkour. Until one day he encounters those jackass bullies, and he kicks their asses, and they fucking deserved it. They're just all cocky, like, "Hey man, kick his ass, fight me, and I dare you." And he says, "Okay." Kicks their asses with the blind stick, and boom, 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 like smacking that jackass bully kid with the cane and blind cane, and kicking the other two jackasses in the same part. Yeah, that was awesome. Very brutal. It's more violent than the director's cut, but yeah, he gets his revenge on those bullies. His dad trains and wants to fight in the boxing game again. He wins his match, but he actually was supposed to lose, but he gets killed by the Kingpin. Yeah, the Kingpin is actually the villain of this movie, and also the Kingpin is supposed to be also the villain too, because he's not just only an arch enemy to Daredevil, he's also one of the arch enemies to Spider-Man as well. That's why he's in No Way. What is it? That Into the Spider-Verse movie. Yeah, he's in that. That's why they had Kingpin in that. But yeah, the dad gets killed after not losing and not going down, so he wins the match. He gets killed by the Kingpin, and yeah, his son Matt Murdock, that's blind, that has the special abilities to fight back, grieves in front of his dead dad, squeezes the roses that has thorn that's bleeding his hand, and he wants vengeance for his dad's death. So yeah, he grows up, and then he becomes a famous lawyer that Ben Affleck is playing the role now. He gets older. He's a very successful lawyer. Sadly, he loses a case from this rape victim that this rape dude, mobster dude that is accused of it, gets away with it. Scummy jackass. So he goes and takes vengeance and kicks that dude's ass at the bar. And takes him to the bus station, takes him to the bus station, subway, and takes him to hell. And he gets sliced in half with the train, and boom, he gets Daredevil's getting investigated why he's doing this and who is Daredevil. The big mysterious, and then of course you get Jennifer Garner in the movie as Elektra, who is also Elektra's another Marvel character in the movie, in the Marvel universe. But yeah, he meets with her, and yeah, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner has great chemistry in this movie. I enjoyed both of them in the movie. Of course, they would go on to be married couples, but they're not married no more. But I thought they had great chemistry in the movie. I It's more well established in the director's cut, but yeah, you get Kingpin, who Michael Clark Duncan plays, and I think he does a great performance. I know some people bitch about his performance, like, oh, why is Kingpin a black guy? I fucking don't care what people disagree about the way they should have Kingpin. I enjoyed Michael Clark Duncan as the Kingpin. He did a wonderful performance. I thought he did the role really well. And yeah, it shows him more violent in the director's cut, so he's more vicious in it. But I thought he was very wonderful and badass in the movie. Rest in peace, that legendary actor. And also Colin Farrell plays Bullseye, who's another MCU villain, and he not MCU, I mean Marvel Universe villain, pretty much the main villain to Daredevil. But he does a great performance. I don't mind Colin Farrell. He's not one of my favorite actors. Like, I do like him in a few movies. I do like them in what's it called? Phone Booth with Forrest Whitaker and Kiefer Sutherland. That's one of his best performances in my opinion. I do enjoy him in a few other movies, but I'm not really big on Colin Farrell. I would say this is one of his better performance in a movie, and he does a really good job as the Bullseye villain. And yeah, he's like a pretty smart villain that's very tough and very mean and like a real mean SOB, not to fuck with. But yeah, he does a great performance, Colin Farrell. And yeah, you go on with Daredevil kicking ass, taking no names, saving people from bad guys. And yeah, and then him and Elektra have a great relationship with great chemistry with Gardner and Affleck's chemistry on point. Colin Farrell, Bullseye gets into the mix of killing Elektra's dad, and Elektra wants to take vengeance against Daredevil because she thinks it's Daredevil. And then they have a fight, and Elektra's about to kill Daredevil, and then it turns out it was Matt Murdock that she's in love with. When she unmasks him, he's Daredevil. Then she has a fight with Bullseye, but Bullseye kills her. Or if she was alive or not. You're not sure because it doesn't really sure of course, because they did the movie Elektra a year or two later after this movie, so she pretty much is alive. Like, she pretty much survived her wounds. But he goes and fights Bullseye in the church. Very cool fight scene with Bullseye. Colin Farrell does a great job as the back arch nemesis to Daredevil in this movie. And of course, they establish more in the TV show, which is cool. Cool TV show. I enjoy the Daredevil TV show. But I do enjoy the movie more, in my opinion. And also what's that? Kevin Smith. I was gonna say Spacey by accident, but Kevin Smith has a cameo as like a forensic dude that is forensicing analyzing the Daredevil's weapon stick and showing Joe Pilanto's journalist character like what this stick is about when Daredevil has his weapon. Yeah, so yeah, Kevin Smith has a cameo in this movie, which is cool. I like Kevin Smith. I like his Clerk movies, especially Clerks 2 is funny as hell. But oh no, yeah, they have a bad Bullseye and Daredevil have a badass fight in the church that's well done, well acted, and well choreographic. Not that fucking MCU shit where everything's going on at once at a time. Like, nah, it's well done. Bullseye gets thrown out of the church, crashes into Joe Pilanto's car. He's all fucked up and broken bones, and of course, Bullseye gets arrested and stretchered out to a hospital. Then now Daredevil wants to go after Pinkpin, who is the one that's responsible for killing his dad. And Kingpin and Daredevil have a vicious, violent fight. Like the fight's more violent in the director's cut. It's more bare knuckles, hardcore, no holds barred fight. Like it's fucking vicious. It's like it's like the fight compared to like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man with Spider-Man fighting Green Goblin. Like you know how violent that fight is. This fight with Kingpin and Daredevil is more vicious and more hardcore. But yeah, very well done fight. This is how Marvel movies kicked ass, in my opinion. But all in all, they have a pretty brutal fight. Daredevil knees like kicks two of Kingpin's knees and breaks him down to his knees, fucks him up. He's about to kill him, but nope, I'm not that way. I'm not the bad guy. You're gonna rot in jail, you motherfucker. And then yeah, Kingpin is gone to jail because he's not like, of course, like even though like of course we would want to see this motherfucker Kingpin killed, but I think it was gonna probably set up for a sequel, maybe, but I don't know why they never did a sequel because this movie should have had a sequel. It should have had a second movie where he wants to go more with Kingpin in the jail and shit. Because Kingpin does get arrested, and I was wondering, like, oh, is he gonna fight Kingpin in jail and finally kill him? I wanted to see that because this movie kicked ass. And of course, Coolio is in this version, and he's part of like a case, like if he was accused of murder, and Matt Murdock's Daredevil, the Daredevil character, is like the attorney for him, Coolio's character, and helps him out and knows he's innocent. And yeah, he gets not guilty at the end and hugs Matt Murdock. Thank you for everything. Yeah, that was cool to see Coolio in this movie. And the sad thing about this movie to see Coolio, I know he passed away. Was it? I think it was last year he passed away, and it was like around the same time. Like I think it was like a couple of days before he passed away. I saw this movie before he passed away because I remember seeing like, oh, Coolio's in this movie, and then I got this at FYE like a couple of days before he passed away, and it was so sad because Coolio was pretty good to see him in this one. I know Coolio's not a actor because he's more of a rapper, and I like his badass Gangster Paradise song. That's a fucking good song. I'm not big on the Dangerous Mind movie, but that song from that movie is such a really banger rap song. This then emotion, like in the game, living in the gangster paradise. This man emotion. Yeah, that's a really banger rapper song from Coolio. Rest in peace, Coolio. He was in this version of the director's cut of Daredevil. But yeah, Daredevil's still around and he's kicking ass and taking no names. Joe Pilato, he's not gonna turn Daredevil in, not gonna reveal who he is. He knows it's Matt Murdock, but he's keeping it secret to himself and tells Daredevil, keep up the good work, and boom, Daredevil's continuing to be the superhero, the kicking ass, taking no names. Kind of leave a cliffhanger if he's gonna go after Kingpin. We don't know if Elektra's still alive because he sees that on the roof that they have like their kiss and stuff, their first kiss in the rain because he gets to see her in the rain. he sees her necklace and he thinks that she's still alive because that wasn't there. But yeah, that's the end of the movie. You end with a really good. I forgot who's the band that sung that song at the end, but you got a lot of good rock band songs in this one. Like a lot of rock bands sings the soundtrack in this one, and it's a really good soundtrack. But yeah, the Evanescent "Bring Me to Life" song, that's such a great song. Every time I hear that song, it reminds me. It just brings me up the Daredevil 2003. But yeah, I highly recommend folks check this one out. And I also want to say the difference was between the theatrical, director's cut and the theatrical. The theatrical is PG-13. I did grow up watching this as a kid. We used to have this on DVD years ago, but for years and years it's been worn and teared down by watching on DVD players over and over again because I really enjoyed this movie. Same with the Hulk 2003. The reason I got this DVD is not just only like I don't mind watching the theatrical version, but there's some features that are on the DVD that are not on the Blu-ray. Like there's some features that are not on the Blu-ray. So yeah, it's always good to keep the DVD because a lot of times DVDs always have the shit, and a lot of times Blu-rays are missing a lot of it. It's like the same thing with the Hulk 2003 that I'm gonna review as well. I'm gonna see if I'm ever able to get that DVD of the Hulk. If I'm not, that'll be fine. If somebody gets it, that's fine. But usually, if you find these DVDs, definitely get them, folks. Even if they're sealed and they're fairly cheap, definitely get it if you're gonna look for more features. Like a lot of times, the DVDs have more features than the Blu-ray. It does have some features ported to the Blu-ray, but there's some stuff that are missing. But the difference between the theatrical and the DVD director's cut, the theatrical version is 103 minutes and the director's cut is 133 minutes. But I actually prefer the director's cut over the theatrical, even though I grew up watching the theatrical cut, and it's still watchable to me because I'm a huge fan of the Daredevil 2003, and I think this movie kicks a lot of ass. It's very underrated. But the weird thing that I noticed that about the theatrical version when I watched it on HBO Max before they changed it to Max, but it was back in 2022, in the summer. I was watching this theatrical version, and I noticed that when I would watch this one, I noticed that the scenes are actually not that edited well. There's like scenes that are clunky, back and forth, like what the fuck. And there's like scenes that are missing that I noticed that was in the director's cut that was more story to it and more structured. Even the scene where Matt Murdock's dad is coming to see him in the hospital after he gets blind from his eye accident. That's cut down. Like you don't really get dialogue of his dad saying sorry and having the dialogue exchanged to him before that he hugs him and says, "I'm sorry, it's okay, Dad," which is more dialogues in this version, the director's cut, and it's well acted by David Keefe, who plays Matt Murdock's dad in the movie. And also, want to mention, Stan Lee has a cameo as a pedestrian that Matt Murdock is walking when he's a kid. He's walking on the street, crossing the street, and he's like a pedestrian that Stan Lee plays that's about to walk into incoming traffic, and he holds him with the cane so he could not get hit by the oncoming traffic. So like that's pretty cool to see Stan Lee. I want to say rest in peace Stan Lee as well. He's not with us. Thank you for these Marvel comic stuff. Stan Lee. I like Stan Lee. He's a cool motherfucker. Would have loved to see and meet him in real life. I would have liked to meet him in real life. That would have been cool. Because Stanley looks like a down-to-earth dude to meet. But all in all, I highly recommend folks check this one out. Daredevil 2003. The only difference from the theatrical version is that it's more edited weirdly, but the director's cut's edited much better. I think if this was released instead of the theatrical version, it could have done a lot better, and I think it could have had a sequel. Because this movie does lift off in a cliffhanger. But all in all, it's well acted, well directed, well structured with the action scenes, and everything's really badass. The cast is great with Ben Affleck, Jennifer Garner, Colin Farrell, Marco Clark Duncan, and Joe Polano, and David Keefe, and John Favreau, and also Coolio in the director's cut. He is in this version, so I gotta mention Coolio. But all in all, I enjoyed Daredevil. It's a kick-ass movie. I give it a 9 out of 10. It's one of those Marvel movies that I think kicks ass and it's underrated. It's up there with the Hulk 2003, the Punisher 2004, and Ghost Rider 2007. This is when 2000 Marvel movies kicked ass, in my opinion. Even the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies kicked ass. I'm not huge on the MCU shit right now, but all in all, this was the shit. This is the review of Daredevil from 2003, folks. Have a good day, everybody, and take care. Hit the like and subscribe and take care, folks. Bye bye.